We're shooting out a sequence on Huber Hype today. It's chaos. This is future me warning you of imminent spoilers regarding some of gaming's greatest. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the title of the game on screen for the duration of the discussion. If you wish to not have that particular game spoiled, fast forward until the title is removed in place of another. Today's episode of Huber Hype, we're talking about video game endings. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Before we get started on this week's episode, last week we had a group episode of Huber Hype, and this has been something that has kind of lingered in the GT comment section for quite some time, is how tall everyone is. So we're gonna put it to bed right here, right now. We lined everyone up mugshot style. Here's everyone at GameTrailers' height. First up, we got Ian Hink, runt of the litter. 5'10" though, you know, the smallest person at GameTrailers.com is 5'10". Followed by me, 5'11", followed by Matt Blair, also 5'11", followed by Kyle Bossman, he too is 5'11". Brandon, you know, he was getting really touchy about it. He's 5'11 3/4. We don't do quarters here. Full inch or no inch. Next up, Big Ben himself coming in at a dominating 6 foot. Followed by none other than Don Casanova, 6'1". Next up's Brad Ellis, 6'2". Followed by a huge jump, Daniel Bloodworth, 6'6". But it doesn't end there. The tallest person at GameTrailers.com, Elise Willems, coming in at a cool 6'8". First on the list, Streets of Rage 2. So as storytelling has evolved considerably over the years, this game represents an entire era of storytelling where endings were so brief. I mean, you beat Super Mario and you get there and it says, yo, thanks for playing. You saved me. So Streets of Rage 2 though, they try to take it a step further. During the credits, you know, this dramatic music is playing. You just defeated the boss, Mr. X, and it's showing you images. It's telling a story with an image at a time, followed, you know, by credits. It's having an impact. It's really driving it home that you conquered the streets. It shows Adam from Streets of Rage 1. He's been alluded to the entire game. You know, he got kidnapped. Shows him just in chains. That one image says 1,000 words, and I really always appreciated the ending of that game for making me feel like I conquered something. Metal Gear Solid. It all takes place over one night. So when you beat the game, the sun's coming up. That alone, you're like, okay, wow, I just went all night through this whole thing. Up until this point, video game endings were so abrupt. Even in JRPGs, you know, you're building to these epic moments and you destroy the final boss, you have a couple people say some expository lines, game over. It's all about time investment. You know, Metal Gear Solid rewards you for the time that you put in directly. It is foreshadowing events in the very beginning that pay off at the end, and Snake himself has had a transformation going through this entire journey. It's not about completing this game or beating this game. It is about changing a man's life. He goes through this journey with Fox Die. He thinks he's gonna die. You know, he has the injection, and getting through this night, facing your twin brother, Liquid Snake, changes him. He's a man changed. He has an intimate moment with Meryl at the end, and he's saying, why am I doing this? Why do we kill each other? Why do we fight? I just want to go live. Maybe with you, Meryl. Maybe with anyone. He wants a companion. That is an ending. That is emotional. The Last of Us. Controversial ending. You got half the people that hate it. The other half are just saying this is the greatest ending of all time. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. So, this entire game is a linear story. There are no radio towers. There is no Paragon system, you are good or evil. You're Joel and Ellie sometimes, and you're sketch as hell. Joel is a bad person. Now this entire game, that prologue, one day we'll talk about intros, greatest intro of all time. The prologue sets the stage and sets the tone for a man on the path to redemption. His entire life changed with that single act of the military killing his daughter. So by happenchance, he meets Ellie, and their fates are entwined from that point forward. Now, at first, he's very distant, and you can see this through the entire game, At first, he's keeping her away because he's scared. He's scared of that connection. It is a brutal world full of death, disease, and destruction, and he is afraid to get close to her because the minute he starts caring, he can lose her, just like his daughter. So going through all the way to the end of the game, you find out that she is the cure for the entire human race. She has the possibility to change the world, cure the disease, start humanity over, reset button style. But Joel says, I don't give a damn. You're not killing her, because to change the world, they have to kill her, take her blood, harvest her organs, freak show style. We need every ounce of her body for some reason. I don't know why they can't just take her blood. Who the hell knows? So you're in this room with the doctors, and she's right there. And I don't get it. People were saying that they wanted to choose, even though you are playing Joel's story specifically. They wanted a choice. They wanted to say, fine, take Ellie. But I disagree. That's not the story that was being told, and that's not truthful to Joel's character. So the best part about this ending, my biggest gripe with endings is that they're so abrupt. And I think by adding the 3-minute epilogue scene, and you're just talking, you're running, you're searching around the leaves, whatever, you're having a conversation, it really just drove it home and cemented it. I think if they had cut earlier, like right when Joel kills the leader of the Fireflies, have some shocking abrupt ending, game over, wouldn't have sold me as much as putting me back into control for a few minutes and driving home that conversation with Ellie. Masterpiece. Last up, controversial. I'm the only one in the office that does not like the ending to Bloodborne. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please don't attack me. Don't hurt me. I just don't like it. So I got all 3 endings, beat this game 3 times, game of the year easily right now. The best. 10 out of 10. It's perfect, except for that ending. So now I get the implications of the true ending, okay? It's really cool. Moon presence comes down. You eat the umbilical cords. I get what it's saying, right? Story-wise, it's cool. Sure. But here is a game that is so damn brutal that it consumed my life for over a month. Killed all human interaction with anyone I wasn't at work with. You go home, no one exists, me and the game. Devoted my life to it. Bared down, beat it, hours. 30, 40-hour game. Go into a little field, fight a guy. Really cool fight. Probably second favorite fight in the game, actually. So there is that. Eat the umbilical cords. True ending, right? I would have never found these things if it weren't for Brad Ellis telling me, yo, you gotta find those umbilical cords, man. Make sure, true ending. I was like, all right, I want that true ending. So you gotta go through hoops to get these. You know, it's secret, true ending. Moon Presence comes down. Biggest letdown. One of the worst fights in the game. You kill him in like 7 hits. He's nothing. Okay? If I'm going through a true ending with an optional, additional final fight in the game, this better be the best damn fight in the entire game times 10. Everything leading up to this ending was better than the ending itself. I don't know. I might be crazy, you know, like everyone attacks me in the office for not liking it. They say that's not the point, you know, it's not about the ending itself, it's about the journey. But I appreciated in Dark Souls 1 when the journey was to light the flames. Was it light the flames, Brad? Quality assurance here, Brad Ellis, Dark Souls specialist. Lighting the flames and then going down into a brand new environment to fight the old king. That felt like a reward. It's like, all right, going down to the final boss. Here we go. I've worked so hard for this moment. It's that really cool environment down there. This was like, oh, you see that stupid locked gate over in the corner that you couldn't access the entire game, even though you're the strongest freaking person in the world? Okay, well, the gate's open now. Go fight this guy. Game over. 12-second cutscene. You're a slug in the doll's arms. Like, I get it. I get that you are now reborn as the one or some crazy, obscure, nebulous, Bloodborne, fanatical storyline, but I just spent 40 hours on your game and you let me down. Honorable mention, my least favorite ending of all time. I'm a Batman fanatic. I live and breathe Batman. It's my favorite thing of all time, definitively, more than anything. I can remember staying up till midnight. They had a double block on Cartoon Network, weekday nights. This was when I was in like elementary, middle school. You got to go to bed at like 10 o'clock when you're that age. I would secretly stay up till midnight and 12:30 to watch the double dose of Batman animated series. Back on track. Batman Arkham Asylum. What the hell is this? So, Joker is a chaotic mastermind in his own way, okay? He loves like setting up these really elaborate traps for Batman. He's a trap enthusiast, trap expert. Like, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, leads to this! So the entire game, you are in this asylum, he's setting all this crazy shit up, all the villains are loose, he lurks in the background for the last little bit of the game, finally culminating in a fist fight with Joker. He takes some venom, some Titan formula. You have a terrible boss fight against him. Just absolutely abysmal. When they could have had the opportunity, I had always dreamed, you know, we're talking about expectations, video game ending expectations. It's like, am I responsible for not liking the end of this game? Is this my fault that I wanted something else and they didn't give it to me, so I was extremely disappointed? I wanted to chase Joker through the asylum. He's setting up traps. You're having banter back and forth. All these crazy things lead to one, lead to another, and it just never happened. He takes Venom. You get in a fist fight. No one's beating Batman in a fist fight, not even Bane. So then you beat him, and again, Bloodborne situation, except a little longer. You get a 60-second cutscene. Batman walks outside. Hey, Jim. Glad I solved this. We got a report. Two-Face robbing a bank. Gotta go, Jim. Flies off, game over. What the hell? At that point, it's not even about you and Joker. They built up this battle the entire game. The entire point of the game is the visceral, emotional war between Joker and Batman, and they completely shit on it in the last 30 seconds when Batman barely even acknowledges him. He's like, all right, see you later. Get really emotional about endings. I find myself more disappointed than not. There are some incredible endings out there, you know, Red Dead, GTA 5. Metal Gear Solid 4 is my favorite because it has the greatest payoff in video game history. It'll never be matched. You'd have to start planning now, game developers. 25 years of lore culminated in Metal Gear Solid 4. You'll never beat that payoff, ever. But it just leads me to believe, I want to have a conversation with all of you. Am I crazy for expecting for a game ending? Should I just go, I go in for the ride, but even when I go in for the ride and I turn everything off and I just play, then I'm even more surprised when they end because so many game endings are just abrupt. The game mechanics exist to frame the story in a way. You go, it's like we gotta have a final boss fight here, fight the final boss, 30-second cutscene, game over. I really want game developers to take the extra time, and I want revolutionary game endings. Let's change the way games end. Had some comments last week on the fantastic group hype episode of Huber Hype. Was gonna have a comment from Roger Young on Twitter, but Bossman himself cut it. Sorry, Roger. Artful Instinct on Twitter said, fantastic episode, lots of hype from all, but no real Diablo 3 conversation. Yes, this being the nature of Huber Hype, hard cuts need to be made. It is disappointing. I could sit here for days and talk. Diablo 3, the least, I don't want to sound negative, the least relevant at this point in time regarding Blizzard, because Hearthstone is newer, keeps going on, Heroes of the Storm's coming out, WoW just had an expansion, Overwatch coming, Diablo 3's expansion came out a while ago, nothing really going on, so. Legacy of the Void is coming out, Bossman. Next up, Juan Harmilo. Oh my god, the first time I played Warcraft 3, I went to my cousin's house and we played the first 3 levels of the tutorial. Then my cousin gave us the game to try it at home. Wow, it was incredible. And they also gave us StarCraft 1. Super fun game. That is awesome. BattleNet, 56K modems, Wild West. Toon Lenny, my first memory of Blizzard was a platformer on SNES called Blackthorn. Hoping Blackthorn makes an appearance in Heroes of the Storm. And lastly, Baneling, best name. Downloading Hearthstone right now. Damn you, Huber. You should be saying damn you, Ben. The guy's a fanatic. He's probably still trying to get legendary since Friday. Coming up on GameTrailers.com and our YouTube channel this week, we have Final Bossman Do's and Don'ts. Always love those episodes. And I'm gonna have a written preview of a commando badass elephant named Tembo. The potential to be one of the greatest video game characters of our era. Just look at this footage. Look at this guy. This is about an elephant that's here to save the world. Now this is from Game Freak, the creators of Pokemon. So expect a full written preview later in the day. That's it for the show. I'm at Michael P. Huber. Please, I really want to have an intense, intimate discussion about video game endings. I don't know why I'm usually let down. Tell me some of your favorites, some of your least favorites, how endings can change in the future, or if you think they're just fine as they are. Thanks for watching. Time for Huber's Cube. I was saddened to hear in the GameTrailers Twitch channel last night that the majority of people hate Dishonored, but I say no! Corvo Attano, an assassin framed for murder. You have abilities like Blink, Rat Swarm, Tornado Push. This world, it feels lived in. You can use your abilities in some of the most creative ways to kill psychopaths there is. So hoping that Dishonored 2 is announced at E3, go back and play the original Dishonored.